has Angel on the cover, as if he was in the movie for longer than 2 minutes, which he was not. One scene where he's about to be cured, but he runs away. One scene where he's flying in the sky for 3 seconds. One scene where he flies to save his dad, then he disappears. And one scene when he is a child trying to cut off his wings because he's afraid his dad will hate him because his dad hates mutants. That's it. They brought Angel to do that. Cyclops is killed in the first 20 minutes in, and they don't even give him a grave until the end of the movie. Though Charles gets one immediately, and so does Jean. Even though they try and say Charles is alive in the end credits. And Magneto still has his powers in this movie for some reason. He gets stabbed with like 4 of the cures, and then he still has it. Still has his powers near the end of the movie. Trask is in this movie, which he is a bit of a taller black man. Yet he is a short white man in Days of Future Past. That movie resets the timeline, makes it so all the other movies aren't canon in that universe anymore. It's just X-Men First Class, Apocalypse, Phoenix, and that one, and I think Logan is in the same thing. But the Wolverine X-Men Origins, this one, and the other 2 are not canon in the universe anymore after that one. But at the time, it still was. They put something that should not have been in there. If they wanted to put Trask in, then he should have been in the next movie. Though Trask is significant to the plot, so. But he is a taller black man, and now he's just a short white dude. But this is before they reset the timeline, so it doesn't make sense. At all. Cyclops gets killed off screen, so he would have been made more sense to bring back to life than Charles, too. But apparently not. I would also like to mention that I looked up on Wikipedia all the screen times for the characters, and this one, and my review is currently a longer amount of screen time than several of the characters, like Angel and some of the villains too. Speaking of one of the villains plays a Marvel character in Inhumans, and was in a movie that I watched I think a month or 2 ago called Old. So I guess that's kind of cool. Though he was younger in this movie. So it really shows how old this movie is. I do remember when I was a kid I had this on DVD, and it had to choose your side, and you could either use your remote to pick the side to be on Magneto's or the X-Men. I don't really remember, but I'm pretty sure they didn't do anything to make the movie different. So I don't really get what the point was. Just to look cool. Rogue is pretty unsufferable in this movie. I don't like her. And she has a line later in the movie that's dumb. Wolverine in the first movie lets her do whatever she wants, basically. He doesn't care. He was going to let her leave the X-Men to do whatever she wants, but then she's surprised in this movie that he's going to let her do whatever she wants. Because for some reason she thinks he's going to talk her out of it. Like, what? Why did you think Wolverine, of all people, is going to talk you out of doing whatever you want? That's just crazy. Beast is probably my favorite Beast. I don't really care for him in the new movies. And I really like his design in this movie. It really works. I wish they would have stuck with this design at least. But no, he looks pretty trashy in the new movies. Especially his brief appearance on First Class. Now that was a tragedy. I remember it being terrible, but I don't remember how bad it was. I do remember the design from Future Past and all that, though. Yeah, that's so ugly. Why would they go for that? Magneto has a line that makes no sense to me, where he says a chess joke, which I guarantee that's the only reason they put it in the script, because Magneto likes chess, so we have to make a chess joke. And there's a joke where it's kind of a joke, where Magneto stops Pyro and Juggernaut and the other villains from going to attack, because in chess, the pawns go first. Magneto would never say that about his brothers and sisters. That's just crazy. I didn't like that line. But besides that, this Magneto has been really good. Ian McKellen was born for the role. Though the guy that replaced him was still really good. Though I do not remember his name right now. So I'm going to look it up. Michael Fassbender. I don't know how I didn't know that. Storm doesn't do too much in this movie, but she does more than she did in X-Men 2. So I guess that's cool. This is her last appearance until Future Past, where she doesn't do much and then she gets killed and then she gets replaced, and then that replacement doesn't do much either, because this series only does stuff with Wolverine. Don't get me wrong, I love Wolverine, but it's pretty ridiculous. It's called X-Men, not Wolverine and Charles Xavier, because that's really all they focus on in these movies, besides this one, because he gets killed off pretty quick and he doesn't do too much. But that's really the only ones that they rely on and keep bringing back and treat like important characters. Other ones will get simply recasted, forgotten about, never show up again, die off screen. Or they just won't do much, period. Like Colossus, he should have been more of a big deal in this movie, since he was a student in the last movie and he was willing to help Wolverine, but he needed to save the kids. In this movie, he still does nothing even though he's older. It's stupid. It's the whole reason Rogue and Iceman fight in this movie, because Iceman didn't do anything in X-Men 2, even though I love X-Men 2, because he was a student. He froze tea and made Wolverine's soda cold. That's all he really used his powers for. He didn't do much besides that. Oh, and he put out a few fires here and there that Pyro caused. That's about it. So he finally uses his powers in this movie, and he still doesn't do that much. We finally get to see Iceman in his Iceman form, and this is the last movie we see Iceman in for 8 years. And then he doesn't do much in that movie either. And then they just drop him from the series, even though he's probably one of the most popular X-Men characters. It's crazy. There's just, the X-Men movies have their flaws, but they can be entertaining. This one is not. Has a few jokes that are pretty good. Has a few cool characters, but they barely do anything. Not to mention, Juggernaut sucks in this movie. But yeah, that's about it.